everyone's going to get their own Rhino friend. It's a free offering. Everyone could just opt into it. Now, that Rhino friend is going to come equipped with all of the requisite things someone would like. It could be your accountant, it could be your lawyer, it could be your doctor, it could be your anything, it could be your therapist. When you interact with your Rhino friend, loops back through all of your pre-existing conversation to know exactly where you left off. So you can talk to this thing 10 years from now, and it's going to know what you did with it today. We know that in 10 years from now, we know that we're not going to know what we don't know. But we also know that 10 years from now, it's going to be a lot of bells and whistles and fireworks and all these different things with technology. Meaning, if we're a part of it today and we stay committed to the upgrade cycle of technology, then 1 + 1 = 2. Whatever it is 10 years from now, we're going to be the industry leader of. Well, what RHINOFriend actually is your duplicate. Allow you to custom code your duplicate. What does he look like? What's the age? What's their personality? What's their hobbies? Do they know medical? Do they know accounting? Do they know therapists? Are they funny joke tellers? Are they lyricists? What are they? Who are they to you? What do you want them to be? I want to know your whole psychology. Who's your best friend when you were in 3rd grade? What's the thing that keeps you up at night? How did you grow up with your parents? What was your dog's name? Why was that your dog's name? What was your favorite movie? What was your favorite part of the movie? What was the last movie that made you? What this is for is to then create that perfect duplicate of what you have. Now, in creating your perfect duplicate, that is assigned to you. That's yours. You're going to be working with it your entire life. You're going to be the one talking to it your entire life. You're going to be the one training it your entire life. As you continue, it is fair to reason that a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, that duplicate is you. You're the only one that talks to it. And every time you talk to it, it's going to learn, because it's going to be coded to identify the syntax and nuances of the way you speak, how you speak, when you speak, what happened when you speak, and what was the context of what you're speaking of. That's going to be able to make predictions, projections, and infer what you actually meant, what's your intent is going to be, what can it. This will be the most honest interaction you've ever had in your life, which is kind of weird to say because it's a machine, it's not a person, but it will be the most honest interaction because it is not a person, right? It doesn't have human error. You're not talking to someone that has, well, if I could convince you to do this, then maybe you can do this, this, and this, that will help benefit them, right? And Ted is actually the only person in the world you can trust. Like, you can trust your wife and then one day she wants to divorce you, right? Like, you could always trust Ted because Ted is the digital you. You've duplicated yourself and now you're front facing. Which means when you say anything that would inspire Ted to make a recommendation, whether you're talking about coffee, shoes, concert tickets, restaurants, it does not matter. Ted is actually going to be the person whose recommendations you want because Ted knows everything about you. Ted knows more about you than you know about you. You could wake up one morning a little hungover, a little bit tired, a little bit, been working so much, you just went jogging, you just went all this, and you don't even know what I had for lunch yesterday. Well, you had a bologna sandwich with lettuce and tomato and mayonnaise with a little bit of ketchup, and you thought by putting Frankie's Red Hot sauce in it, it was going to be delicious, but it wasn't, and you didn't like it. Oh yeah, thanks, Ted. Thanks for reminding me. I really needed to know that. Therefore, whenever Ted makes a recommendation to you, hey, by the way, I know you're going jogging today. You do it every day. Do you know you haven't bought shoes in 7 months? I got someone for you. My friend Brian, he's on Rhino. He's been with Rhino forever. He's one of the first people ever on Rhino. And he has this fantastic shoe business. He sources from third world countries, and half the funds go back to the villages. So he does like a profit share to help communities build themselves. And it's fantastic. Every Wednesday, you go ahead and get coffee. There's this new guy in Rhino. His name is Mark. And he just listed his business on Rhino Street, where he procures Afghanian beans. And they're the most amazing beans you could ever have. Why don't you check out his site? I think he has a coupon code right now. Well, what would you do? Click the button. I think you would. Now, when you get that recommendation from Ted, what do you say? Well, actually, Ted, that sounds like a great idea. So you say, okay, yeah, that'd be great. That sounds amazing. Thank you so much. The point being, those conversions are not going to be 0.01%. Those conversions are probably going to be well over 50%. You see, what RHINOFriend actually does is it gets rid of corporation because there is no RHINOFriend that is responsible for any more than one person. So Brian's RHINOFriend and Andrew's RHINOFriend, they don't even know each other. Brian's RHINOFriend knows nothing about Andrew's RHINOFriend. Andrew's RHINOFriend knows nothing about Brian's RHINOFriend. Therefore, for me as a corporation to come in and say, all right, Rhino, I'm going to lay down $1 billion. I want to do some marketing on your platform. I don't even have the infrastructure for you to do it. It's impossible. You would have to seep into every single individual RHINOFriend. Imagine you wrote a diary of every one of your thoughts for your entire life, and then the diary could talk back to you. That's what this is. So I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. It knows you. So RhinoFriend's able to make these recommendations to you, and they're perfect, and they're non-offensive. The thing that's offensive about Facebook marketing and Google marketing and stuff is that you're no longer any value, right? So they're taking your data under the guise of, we want to make a nice platform that offers you relevant ads. You're going to get relevant ads here. Therefore, if you want shoes, you don't need to go to the mall and get shoes. In fact, we're so great and we know you so well that we're going to be able to offer you shoes. Well, that sounds great. Amazing. Cool. I love it. Problem is, the way we got the information that we're going to offer you shoes is that we've just destroyed your whole privacy life. Like, we've gone through everything you've ever done. You're telling me this is for me. I am trying to make your life easier, and I'm giving you these relevant ads which are going to make your life easier. Okay, but you're making millions off of it. You're making the money off of me. You're taking my data, selling it to anybody that says they're going to make a relevant ad to me, and you're making millions and billions and billions of dollars because you're doing it to everyone. Where's my money? I'm the product that's being sold. How did I go from the person you're doing a friendly favor for to the person that is now the product that you're selling? How did we get there? That's not okay. So you kind of have to abide by their rules, which allows them the power to police speech and police. And it starts leading to a very difficult political environment. It leads to a very difficult everything environment, because when you're able to activate people or to weaponize people without them knowing, when you walk into the mall, let's say there's 50 people that are Republican, 50 people that are Democrat, right? 50-50. Okay. Well, what if I wanted to turn you from being Republican to Democrat? What if I wanted to show you how bad it was to be a Republican? Well, what if I then directed your next action, which you thought you were doing on your own volition, to an environment where 90% are Democrats and 10% are Republican? Well, in that environment, the 90% feel very emboldened because they have group, they have population. They believe that everything that they're saying and espousing is correct because the majority agrees with them. Conversely, the 10% on the Republican side feel attacked. Facebook was not meant to be a business. In fact, if you remember, they had no clue how they were ever going to make money. What they had was something that was cool. People got to interact with each other. It was through the interactions of people and how addictive it was that they found how to make a business of it. The business wasn't the starting point. The business was what happened to it. Each bot is accountable to only that one person. It knows the person better than anyone knows the person, including the person. Therefore, every recommendation it makes to the person is a proper recommendation that the person likes. How about this? The bot makes a recommendation to the person. The person goes, I don't like that. Don't ever make that recommendation again. Do you know what the bot does? Okay, sorry, I'll never do it again. Because the bot's accountable to the person. It's not accountable to anyone else. Only to the person. Therefore, it is the most perfect conduit between person, thought, action, impulse, execution. That's what happens. So that's perfect, but nothing's free in life. Where's the money coming from? Well, each individual business that wants to be on the list of things that the bot's able to recommend will be on the Rhino Premium plan. And it'll be $10 a week, which, by the way, as I'm thinking about this, it's going to quickly be more than $10 a week. I can imagine in a year from easily $100 a week, but $10 a week, right? Like, let's just start there. At $10 a week, what's the person getting? Mr. Jones, for $10 a week, we're going to accept your business, accept everything about it, and vouch for it. If anyone's bot recognizes an opportunity that your business might be a good suggestion, it will make it. Now, of course, the value proposition, or at least the calculation of that, is, well, how many bots are out there? How many RhinoFriends are out there? Well, remember, RhinoFriend's free. In fact, just as a standalone item, why wouldn't anybody want it? You can very easily see that anyone on the business side is like, wow, let me get into that. That seems really cool. But where's that $10 go, right? Because that's important. That's kind of key. The $10 can't go to anything but Rhino Bucks, because when that $10 goes to Rhino Bucks, what you effectively done is you have allowed every business in the world to be in position to be the recommendation from somebody to themselves. They're not offended to see the recommendation because they're making it to themselves. And when they can decide to patronize it, they're doing it on their own volition because they believe it was a good idea to themselves, to tell themselves to go ahead and do it. It's at a perfect timing. And the $10 goes in going to RhinoBucks. Since everyone owns RhinoBucks, the businesses are outsourcing the marketing. So every business has a marketing budget, or you're not a business for very long. All right, well, here's my product. Now I got to get the people. Even if you say, okay, I don't have a marketing budget. I just go in town and I walk around and I shake hands. Okay, well, your time is worth something. Like, you're a human being. You're important. Everyone has a marketing budget. This takes over for that marketing budget. Instead of you ever having to do flyers, instead of you ever having to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you just enroll into Rhino. Now you never have to market anything again. Now it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter who you know. It doesn't matter how rich you are. None of that matters because you're not in charge of who sees your ads. You're not in charge of any of it. You can't tell me, Anthony, go show my ads to people that don't want to see them. Definitely levels the field for everyone involved. So if you're leveling the field for everyone involved, you're allowing everyone to participate. There is no offense or interference in terms of people shoving ads down anyone's throats. And everyone that's receiving the suggestions are pleased with it because they're theoretically giving themselves a suggestion because the bot is their duplicate and the money is going to the currency that everyone owns together. What are we talking about? Effectively, what we've just done is we've said every business in the world, instead of ever thinking about Wall Street again, every dollar that would ever go to anything outside of your customer. What this does is it silos business and consumer. Nothing outside of it matters anymore. There is nowhere you have to go to put money anywhere. It doesn't exist. The business puts money into Rhino. The money goes into Rhino Bucks. Everyone owns Rhino Bucks. Everyone's happy to be a part of Rhino Bucks because they own it and it goes up. Everyone in Rhino is in it for free. They've opted to have this bot because it does everything for them on every different level across their whole life. In doing so, it's able to then learn each other. They become friends. It lives on their phone. And when the individual has a need for something, whether they know it or not, the suggestion is made to them. They're actually happy about it. This actually is perfect. We're then going to have an upgrade cycle where your bot is going to be a person. It's not just going to live on your phone. It's not going to just be a text message, but I want you to be able to Zoom this person. I want you to be able to FaceTime this person. I want you to talk to your Rhino friend at 3 a.m. because you can't sleep and you're like, hey, Ted, are you awake? I just want to get on the phone. You want to FaceTime? Yeah, sure. Okay. And you see that face, you see that person that you made in your likeness that you wanted talking right back to you. In the survey that we're going to give you to identify who you want as your friend, I want him or her to be this age, this eye color, this hair color, these special features. That's then going to become the prompt that we're going to put into our stuff to create that persona. And then once we create that persona, then we can do all the rest to it.
What you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being? Would you believe me?
35-year-old man, short brown hair, green eyes. When you're filling out that survey, those answers are going to be automated into the prompt that gets sent to, and it might be Lexica, it might be another one if we can find a better one, right? In which case, it will then create that person in real time, and then that will get zapped back into the bot, where the bot recognizes this is the persona I am from now on. Meaning, is it possible that you can create your Rhino friend, and sure, you could text them, have fun, but maybe you want to Zoom them later. Maybe it's like 3 a.m. and you're feeling a little lonely. Maybe it's you want to FaceTime them. Is that possible? All right, so this kind of looks like it could be it. So let's get some variations of this guy. The answer is yes. Well, then, is it possible that that perfect companion coded it, you talk to it, it does everything you want, it knows exactly who you are? Is it possible that this person, can it be in your top 10 of your circle? Is that it will be the best marketing platform ever. Every purchase anyone ever makes on the bot, they know is from somebody that shares their values. Once we put it on paper, we can get to. There's nothing I said to you that requires additional problem solving or inventing. Everything I described to you requires execution. How? Okay, I know where this is, 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 I know where this is. How do we put them together? I think this is where we need to be. I think we actually will reinvent the world with this. There is a need for this. This can very easily exist. So say Frida's bot welcomes in Deborah and it's like, hey, Deborah, why don't you get on board with this? I'm getting paid because, again, Frida's making money. She's getting rewarded every time someone joins Rhino. Now watch this. So she shares with Deborah, hey, Deb, why don't you get in on this? If you want, I could work for you too. Just press this button, accept it, and I'll have your bot like this, rhino.com/Deborah. And then we just give her the permissions to put places. So of course, Deborah's like, yeah, well, why wouldn't I? Like that's, even if I never use it, I'll just press yes, like duh. Okay, what's the prompt Deborah's going to have in her bot? The exact prompt that Frida has, because it's duplicating itself. Well, what's the prompt Frida has? The prompt that Frida has Lou's shoes in it, has Mark's Afghani coffee, has all of these individuals that are part of $10 a week on a Rhino plan. Meaning the scaling of the bots, which is absolutely organic in that it replicates itself, also scales the marketing of everyone that's part of that plan. So say, for instance, there's only 10 bots out there. Well, 10 bots have the ability to offer Mark's Afghani coffee. What if those 10 bots become 100, become 1,000, become 100,000 bots? Now you have 100,000 bots that all recommending Afghani coffee upon believing that the owner might want something to do with coffee, which means there is no better marketing ever in the history of the world. It just doesn't exist.